Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Tammy. I own Walnut Creek Bath Boutique. Today's video is a little bit different in that I'm going to be on my computer showing you how I use Canva to create all my labels. So I brought out a few samples just in case you haven't seen my labels, and I'm just going to show you a couple samplings. So this is my micellar water. It has all of the information in the front there. You can turn it, and I have my stripe with my business colors, my hummingbird. On the back is my information. My shampoo bars, there's that. And then my soaps. I don't think I've ever showed you my soap labels before. So I'm listening to my customers. I went back to my cigar bands, even though they get loose and start driving me crazy. This is what my customers really like. And so this is what I have for them. I have my little sleeve, I don't know what that's called, but I think it's cute. Now I do have my soaps in a salon that I do use boxes for those, but it's a whole other process. My labels are different sizes and everything's different, and that's just a pain to have two different labels for one soap. I used to do that for shipping, and I stopped. I just ship in my cigar bands right now, but I may go back to my boxes for shipping too. I think that would protect my soaps a little bit better. I think it might be a little bit more professional for the shipping as well. I'm rambling. Let's get up to the computer and I'll show you exactly how I created these labels. I have the paid version of Canva. I just created a new account for a free version so that if you are just getting started and you want to just try the free version. So the first thing I would do is I would come over here to custom size. And because this is going to be the easy version where we are cutting these labels out ourselves, we're not transferring these over to Avery or online labels or anything like that to use the shapes. This is a 8.5 by 11 piece of sticker paper or cardstock or something like that we are actually going to cut ourselves. So that's this video. So my width is 8.5 by 8.5. My height is 11, and I'm going to do, it's going to change this. So let me go back. 8.5 by 11 inches. The first thing I want to do is create my size. Let's say we are doing a cigar band and I need to know exactly where those folds should go. So what I would do is I would come over to Elements, click on Elements, and you have all of these graphics and photos and videos and different things that you can choose from. We're going to keep this fairly simple, and we are going to just do, I'm going to do lines and shapes. If I hit see all, these are all the different things that we can utilize in Canva for creating our labels. I really just want to get the size down. So I'm going to start with this. I'm going to use the regular square. Just drag it over or double click on it. And I'm going to increase my size down here so I can really see what I'm doing. And then you have these scroll bars. So basically what I need to do is say, okay, well, this looks to be about 1.5 inches. Maybe I want to go to 1.8 inches wide around my soap. And then I am going to say, well, I think that, once I measure it out, 6.5 inches should wrap around my soap. I would then download this, print it, cut it out, and wrap it on my soap. This is the first step I do in any time I'm making a new label, is I will just do a blank sheet of paper, simple copy paper, print out my dimensions and make sure those are right before I move on. And then I come in here and I have to tweak it. So I'm going to make this a little bit wider. I don't think that was going to work on my soap band. And I'm going to go ahead and go 2 inches on my height. Now the problem with this is too, you have to be careful because 2 inches, watch my cursor and the, watch the numbers. So I'm going to drag this down and see that too. Look at that. That's a lot of dragging where that number 2 doesn't change. So it's not precise. And that's why you do have to print these out and make sure that they're the right width for you. Yeah. And another thing is this border seems to be fairly thick. I can't find a thinner one. So I just live with the thick border. My soap labels, I do keep the border, actually. I think it looks pretty. So let's just say we've printed it out, it works for our labels, we've tweaked how we're going to tweak it. You can even, like if you want to keep from wasting paper, you can highlight it so you have this grid around it, and you can duplicate it right here and say, okay, well, this one's going to be a little bit longer, and then you can duplicate that one and say, okay, well, I think that link's probably going to be better. I'm going to go down a little bit. And then you can cut each one of them out so you're not wasting time on paper, and then you can find out which one is really going to work for you. But let's just say this is how we want it, and this is the shape we want, and now we can really start filling the shape in with the information that we need. So the first thing I would do is add in my logo. So I'm going to upload my logo. So I'm going to come to uploads here, and I'm going to upload my own media. So I'm going to hit that. So I don't know which one I want to use, so I'm just going to try that one. So there's my logo. I'm going to drag that over, and then I'm going to drag these and kind of resize that. I think that looks fairly good for now. And then I'm just going to start adding text. So let's say, go to text. You've got a couple headings, subheading, a little bit of body text, all of these good things you can choose from. To me, it doesn't really matter which one because I'm going to resize it and change the font anyway. So I'm just going to change this, and to change I'm going to drag that down a little bit, drag this up a little bit. Okay. So to change the font, I'm going to click on it, and then this box here where it says Open Sans Extra Bold, you have all of these fonts that you can choose from. So let's do Baskerville. I think that looks pretty. And then you can hit bold if you want it. You can change the color if you're coloring in print, printing in color. You drag the size, or you can change the font right here. Your color palette isn't hugely aggressive in here, but you can try adding your own code if you have a code for your color. So you can try that if you want to. So then I'm just going to highlight that and start typing. Let's say lavender. All right. I'm going to resize that. Maybe I'll make it purple because it's lavender. And then this thing here will let you drag it, or if you click off of it, which is kind of how I usually do it, I'll click off of it until that goes away. Once this thing here goes away, like click off of it, then I can just move it where I want it. And that's kind of how I end up doing it. I don't use this very often. I'm going to go ahead and make that smaller. But you can. I mean, it's fine. It's easier. Sometimes it's easier, but I click off on it. Click off, and then I can just drag it. That's kind of how I do it. So we're making lavender soap. I think this all needs to be smaller. Like that. And these lines here will see, you can see, I don't know if you can see, when I move it, you have now I'm center. You can see, I don't know, I keep wanting to point to you on the screen, but you can see the line going across, is telling me I'm center in my box. And the line going up and down, it's not easy to see, but that's at center of my logo. So I'm center. So I'm good where I'm at. I'm going to go ahead and add a smaller heading. And this one is going to be 4.5 ounces. What is it? 128 grams? I don't know. I'm not looking it up. And that's going to be, let's change the font. All right, so we'll just do that font. We'll bring it down. We'll make it bold. Bold. And then we're going to change that to black. Click off, and now you can see that. And we're going to make that a little bit smaller and drag it where we want it. And then you can kind of see the lines will center you up, or you can drag all the way like that. And if you come up here to this little more, you can position them and center. And so now they're center of the label itself. So everything is now centered up nicely. I'm going to add a little bit more text. Just again, it doesn't really matter I don't think it matters at all which one of these you choose. I manipulate it anyway. So I'm going to do ingredients. I'm going to see how I'm dragging that. This bar here will bring these kind of like in. I kind of like that. I don't like the font, so I'm going to change the font. I'm just double clicking on that. Let's just keep with that, and we're going to keep with bold, and I'm going to make them smaller. And now I'm in here, and I thought, yeah, I think I do want to kind of do it this way. Just like that. So maybe I want to do some words like my soap labels back in the day. I would actually do like fragrance notes or special ingredients or something special about the soap. I would kind of put like this little blurb on the back of the label. And so I could do that easier if I just kind of highlight this, come up here, and this little thing right here is your duplicate. I'm going to duplicate it and drag that over here. And then my font is the same size. My font is the same font. My writing is the same font. All of that good stuff. So my label's done. Now I have created a much more elaborate label where I have a hummingbird going down one of the side panels where the side of the soap is. My ingredients are now on the back. I have, my address and everything. I have all of my social media and my email address, and all of that is on there. So to put those on there, you're just going to maybe copy this again. I do a lot of copying, and then I will move it, and then I can say, and so it's not looking very well. My M is on the bottom line, so I'm just gonna pull this a little bit so that that is nice on my line. Maybe pull this down too. And this is a lot of space between lines, and especially some of these ingredient labels are just, the font has to be so small to get all of your ingredients on the label. This is a lot of wasted space, and I almost never leave it this way. So I will highlight this whole box, and I come up here to this spacing here, and the line spacing is 1.4. I always drag this down to at least 1, if not, a little bit less than 1, to try to be able to cram as much information as we need to cram into it. So just click off of that, and now the spacing is a little bit better for what you need to do. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, like that. I'm going to bring this up and see if I like this. And so now what you'll want to do is you'll want to print this off. Print one label just like this and really get a feel for what it looks like on a bar of soap. So if we printed this off, we have to download it. You can't just print it and test it. You do have to download every single time you want to print something. So let's just try to download. I'm going to download this. It's giving me that. And I'm going to bring this back up now that it's down in my downloads, and I'm just going to print it. So let's just print this off real quick. And it's on landscape right here, so I have to change this. I don't know why it defaults to landscape all the time. So definitely have to change that to portrait, and then I'm going to print this. So I have a bar of soap in my room waiting for me to take pictures. So I'm going to go grab that, and let's see what it looks like on the bar of soap. Ah, it's way too big. Way too big. All right, so let's go ahead and cut it out and see where we're at. Doesn't have to be any kind of fancy. Doesn't have to be perfect. This is just our test. Bar of soap. So you can see that my wrapping is pretty close. So my length is pretty good. I think my width here is too big. And yeah, I don't like this at all. So maybe I want my ingredients to go down here like this. And I want my ingredients like this, and I want this wonderful bar to be on the back edge, which means that I'm going to have a little bit of overhang right here, and then I'll be able to tape that or glue that or whatever you do. So let's do some manipulating. So we know that the length is good, but it's a little too wide. So I'm going to just bring that up and bring that down just a little bit. Bring this down a little bit. We have room. And my ingredients, I'm going to make those smaller. And now I want to turn them on end, right? So I'm going to go ahead and take this little dial, and I'll be able to turn that. And you can tell when you are at 90 degrees because it's going to tell you. And I click off, and then I go back. I want it to be a little bit smaller. And I want it to maybe go smaller and go further across the soap label, if that makes sense. So I'm going to drag that down a little bit. I'm going to bring this over. This I need to be pretty far over here because that's the back. But actually, I need this to be pretty far this way because this is just wrapping along the back. Does that make sense? So this is coming over, this is coming over, and this is coming over. And then I'm lining that up. Okay. All right. I know I have a lot of blank space here, but this is the other side that doesn't have anything on it right now. So let's download this and print this out. And so this is kind of trial and error. Once you have this, and once you have the shape that you want and everything is exactly where you want, it's a lot of, then you just copy and paste, or you copy it. Then you just kind of redo it. Then you're done. Every soap label, as long as it's the same shape, is done. You've got it figured out. So anytime I create a new label from scratch for maybe like a new product, then, or a new package, then yes, I have to go through this. My circle labels, I know exactly the size that I want. and where everything should go. And then I just copied that label and changed the wording. So the size doesn't change. Let's try this again. So I'm going to put my lavender here. I'm going to wrap that around. That's not too bad. It could go down a little bit closer to the edge. And look at that. Wow. There you go. So this is a wonderful bar of soap and handmade in Indiana. All of that's perfect. I probably wouldn't move that. Maybe just a touch closer to the edge. I would probably line up my ingredients closer to that edge, but otherwise I'm pretty happy with that. And I would. So if this was my bar of soap that I was creating, let me come back over here, get rid of this. I'm going to make it just a little bit longer, but I am going to move this over a little bit closer. Oops, look at that. I like to just click off and drag. A little bit closer to the edge. And I'm going to take this one a little bit closer to that edge. And then I think it's good. I'd probably print that out one more time. And then my label's made. And let me show you how I would then do my labels. I print these on cardstock. So I am going to drag a box over everything. I'm going to drag that up. And I'm going to come up here and hit duplicate. And your red lines are going to let you know you're in line. I usually will arrow down one to give me a little bit of space. Drag my box over everything again. Come up here, duplicate, drag these down, line everything up nice. Looks like it's perfect. Space. And then I'm going to do that one more time. So you can kind of see if you're not really lined up. That green line is telling you that you are. I'm going to hit one down. Click off of it to get rid of those. And then I'm just going to delete this. Trash. So now I have all of these. Let me zoom out a little bit. That's ready to print. So I would download this and I would print it out and I would cut it out. And then my soap labels are done. I would I would save this as test soap label, and then I would save it. Well, it actually automatically saves for you. So if you go to home, all your designs over here, we have this. And so say it's time for me to do black raspberry vanilla. I would come up here to this like little ellipsis here, make a copy, open my copy. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to delete all of this. Just make a box around it, trash that out, make it a little bit easier for me to see what I'm doing. And I'm going to change this to black raspberry vanilla. And then I would change my ingredients if I needed to. And then I'm going through the same thing. I'm highlighting the whole thing, copy or duplicate, bring it down. As long as everything is kind of green, then it's going to move together. And then I would change this to black raspberry vanilla. And then it's saved because everything, all my changes are saved. Maybe I want to make put a picture inside of it because I think I like the picture. So I'm going to go to elements and you can do graphics and you have your free graphics, free photos, and then you have your paid for subscriptions. So let's look at all the graphics here and you can search lavender and it's like, okay, well, I can put a little bit of lavender leaf on here and I can line that up to where that lavender bud is on the other corner, and maybe I want to duplicate that, and now I have two just to kind of fill the other corner up. I could put this in the background, So I have my lavender here, right? I have both of them. And I'm just moving them where I want them. But I kind of want them in the background. So I am going to position those. Usually how I do it is I will go all the way to the back and then I go forward once. And I chose my wrong label because my logo is a white background. So I chose the wrong logo, but normally if you just have your regular logo that's not got a white box around it, that would look better. I'm going to go to the back, forward one. I'm going to change my black raspberry vanilla to black so it stands out a little bit. And then they're a little too dark, right? You can't even see the soap words. So I'm going to take this and bring the transparency down just a little bit. And then let's take that transparency down a little bit. So you still get the feel of the lavender buds in here, but they're not overwhelming your label. And then I think you can flip it. Let's see. Yeah, wait a minute. There. Nope, not that one. Horizontal. There we go. All right, so now we have this little lavender graphic kind of flipped on either side. If you want to do something like that, you can go back to elements and we can look at photos, and that's like a photo of a lavender, which I always like the photos a little bit better personally. I like the photos better, but so here's a lavender photo. I'm going to line this up 90 degrees, get rid of that stem. I don't care about that. Bring that down, and then I can line that up and print that a couple times, and that can be on the side if you want something like that. We can bring this over here. I like things to be a little bit off center sometimes when it's kind of picture wise, but it's still too dark. So we can kind of really bring that down. We don't want our words to get lost. There you go. So you can play around with that with different graphics or photos, different things like that to make your label a little bit more interesting. You can, once you have the label created, if you don't want this box around it, just get rid of it. When you're done, you can just get rid of it. And then you'll just need to know some way of knowing your cut sizes. So that's why one of the reasons I use the box is because I need to know my cut sizes. But certainly, you know, if this is down here at the bottom and this is at the top, you can give yourself some guide points, I guess is what I'm saying. You can, you know, have this over here so you know the top of the label is where you want to start cutting, or just on the other side of that. So, I mean, cigar bands aren't that, you know, important that they're exactly right unless you're talking about the center parts. But there is a cigar band label. Let me show you. So these are all your photos you get to choose from, and they've got some beautiful free photos. This one is a pro. If it has the little crown on it, you know you're not allowed to use that. But they do have some really pretty free ones that you can use. That's pretty. I mean, there's just some really, really pretty ones. So don't feel like you have to buy the pro version. You can make beautiful labels on the free version. What the pro gets me and why I need the pro is if you're doing circles or squares or using online labels or Avery labels to print your labels on. At that point, I find that it's really important to have the pro. So guys, that's it for this Canva. I will try to maybe do a couple more. I feel like I was really This is my first Canva tutorial, and I don't know that I did a really good job. But practice makes perfect, and I will continue to bring you some of these if you're interested. Let me know specifics of how you want your labels to look, or how you want what you want to see, what you can or cannot do in this, because I really only touched the surface of using Canva to make our labels. Um, I'm going to bring you another video on using online labels or Avery labels to create your labels in Canva, and then figure out how to get those into the other applications so you can print on those labels. That took me a while. I'm kind of slow on the uptake sometimes, so it took me a while to figure that out. But you do need Pro. As far as I can tell, you need Pro, unless you are really good at your measurements. So anyway, that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to get off here. Good luck, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.